Hi everyone, this is Yolo, the spiritual minister for Bridging Duality Spiritual Healing Center, or BDSHC for short. Our goal is to help everyone have a stronger connection to God no matter what you believe or what religion you are in. We celebrate you. Today I'm going to talk about finding peace in an anxiety-filled world. It seems like anxiety and depression are on the rise. We hear about it more and more, and more people are suffering from it. Anxiety is often rooted in fear of the future or regret of the past. Fear is seen as a product of a meaningless world. Where one believes that they must depend on external things and circumstances for their well-being. Matter of fact, the ego creates fear and anxiety by focusing on our sense of self, causing us to be constantly seeking validation and worry about potential threats to our identity or comfort zone. And this can lead to a cycle where the ego generates fear to protect us. We are all online. We look at social media in one form or another. You're looking at me right now on a social media platform. And by putting ourselves out there, it causes us to seek validation. What are people saying about my videos? What are people getting out of this? All of our interactions have become so different than what they used to be. We used to have a lot of face-to-face, and now we have a lot more interactions online behind a screen. And these things can cause fear and anxiety. Matter of fact, the ego kind of divides the world into good and bad, creating this sense of separateness and fear of anything different. The ego's constantly striving for that feeling of goodness, that validation from others. And it's a never-ending battle that is really driven by fear and insecurity. And when it succeeds, it seeks for more of that feeling. And when we fail, it creates anxiety. We are in this society where we want to be perfect. We want people to look up to us. We want to be validated. And when we're not, that can cause us to feel down, anxious, or even fearful. We also have that fear of unworthiness. The ego is fueled by fear, including the fear of not being good enough or not being worthy, which can push us to achieve more and more out of that sense of pressure rather than true inspiration. I want to go back to the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus is talking to the people, and he tells these wonderful parables that helps the people step out of anxiety and pressure and those types of things. So in Matthew 6:19 through 21, it says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." That's a really powerful line. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. We make our own reality. If we're putting our faith and attention on things of this world, the validation from others, the comments on our videos or posts on social media, those things are not going to lift us up. But if we're focusing on them, that is where our heart lies. It's only when we turn our attention to those things that, let's face it, really matter, are we able to step out of the anxiety and fear that we're not going to be validated. If we're turning to God for laying up our treasures and putting our heart where, we want to treat others the way that we want to be treated. We treat people with love and compassion. When we are focused on the love, when we are focused on doing things that bring us joy, and I'm not talking about the happiness, giggle, happy kind of thing, but peace and joy, then we start to shift away from anxiety and depression. Also, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what you should put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body more than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are they not much better than they? Are you not much better than they? Which for you, by taking thought, can add one more cubit to your stature? I love this one. Can you make yourself taller just by saying, I want to be taller? I mean, yeah, we can put heels on to make us taller, but that is not going to change your stature. And why take ye thought for raiment? In verse 28, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all of his glory did not array like one of these. In verse 30, wherefore if God so clothed the grass of the fields, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe ye, O ye of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And I want to stop right there for a moment. The Greek word for righteousness means equity, justice, integrity, and virtue. It describes a state of being as one should be, which is acceptable to God and encompasses fair and just dealings, a righteous way of living, a correct living. If everybody treated everybody the way they wanted to be treated and showed love and kindness, we would all be living the word righteous or righteously. But if we go back to Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient to the day is the evil thereof. And I love verse 34 because it's like, don't think about tomorrow. Think about the right now. Jesus, over 2,000 years ago, told us to stay present. Think about the now. Don't think about tomorrow. Don't worry about all of those things that are out of your control at this time. Only do what you can and call on God. Pray for those things that you need. And honestly, some of that is more for us than for God, because God knows what we need. He knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows that we may not have enough food tomorrow or the next day, or that we need a new pair of shoes or a new job, or whatever it is that we are struggling with at the time. God knows it. But sometimes He waits for us to realize it and ask. And we need to ask with gratitude and love, because though God knows all, God also wants to be recognized and talked to, and He can amplify all that we have and need. And as we seek His help and go to Him in prayer, showing Him gratitude for the things that we do have, and asking for our needs to be filled, God will step in and amplify, and everything will turn out the way that it should turn out. I mean, because, we make our own reality, right? And if we are of a mindset that everything is terrible, then everything's going to be terrible. If we are in a mindset of gratitude and love, then we're going to find all the wonderful things that are happening in our lives. Even if there's parts of our lives that don't feel so wonderful, they're going to feel less terrible because we're focusing on the positive and the good. In Matthew chapter 8, verse 24 through 23, Jesus asks His disciples why they are fearful. He used this moment to teach them to have faith and trust in the Lord instead of allowing fear and anxiety to take over. And it says, "And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with waves. But He was asleep." Jesus was asleep. "And His disciples came to Him and awoke Him, saying, Lord, save us, we're going to perish. And Jesus said unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then He arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm." What a teaching moment this was for His disciples. They felt panicked and fearful, and Jesus was like, have faith. Have faith in the Lord. He can change whatever it is that is causing the fear and the anxiety. Give away your fear to the Lord and trust in Him to take care of you. And that's where the faith comes in. And that's where Jesus was trying to teach them to have faith and trust instead of allowing that fear to take over. Another example in Matthew chapter 11, 28 through 30, Jesus says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." And I love this, and I've dissected this whole thing. When you talk about a yoke, and I have this wonderful picture. So these are oxen that are bound by a yoke. And a yoke looks like that. Okay, so a yoke, when he was talking about that, Jesus is asking us to share our burdens, stress, anxiety, and fears with him. A yoke is what they would put on the two animals, like the oxen that I just showed you. And it would allow them to plow or pull a cart. And it made the load lighter, and they were able to pull more weight. And it became a partnership and a shared effort for the animals. So when Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me," he's saying, let me be partners with you. Let me help you. Let me share in this burden with you. And he says, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. I love this because in the Beatitudes, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Well, and then he's calling himself here, I am meek. Being meek is a strength under control, being humble with a willingness to yield to God's will. It's about exercising power with kindness and consideration. Meekness is a virtue that reflects a deep trust in God and a desire to serve others. And I love how Jesus says, I am meek. What a wonderful thing. And he also says that he is lowly in heart. And lowly in heart indicates Jesus's humility and lack of pride. He does not see himself as superior to others, but rather as a servant who is here to serve humanity. And the Greek word for lowly means humble, low in status, or unassuming. It refers to a state of loneliness that is not about weakness, but about a profound humility and understanding and total dependence on God. And it's, I think, so wonderful that Jesus describes himself like this, and he tells us to find rest in him. And he says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So if we are putting our faith and our trust in Jesus and God, then our burdens will be lightened. You know, there's a beautiful picture of someone walking on the sand, and there's two sets of footsteps, and then all of a sudden there's one set of footsteps. Jesus is carrying you when it just feels like it's too much. As we put our trust in him, he will elevate us and make us stronger and help us get through those situations that just feel awful. In Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7, the Apostle Paul, in a letter to the Philippians, said, be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. And I love this because God knows everything, and the Apostle Paul is reminding us that God knows everything. Don't worry, don't stress, give it to God. And I'm going to talk about that here. The things that we can do to help implement the teachings of the scriptures and other things that we can do to help find peace in this anxiety-filled world. Instead of running from fear, we can acknowledge it and give it to God. which is also what several of these passages have said. And we can say something like this: Dear God, with love and gratitude, I give all my fear/anxiety about XYZ to you. And I ask that you release me from the fear and anxiety that has hold of me at this time. And then when you get done saying that, blow it out. Release it from your body. Release it from your mind. Tell God you don't want it anymore, to please take it from you and release you from it. Dear God, with love and gratitude, I give you all of my fear. And I ask you to release me from this fear and anxiety that has a hold of me right now. And you need to be willing to let go of the external world, the external validation or outcomes, because those are short lasting happiness. That external validation, it comes and it goes, and it's never lasting. We need to be able to let go of that. And it is a process that requires patience and a continuous choice to step out of that external validation and turn to love and turn to God. We need to recognize that many fearful thoughts are just thoughts, ego thoughts, and are not necessarily a reflection of reality. Realize that fear stems from a mistaken identity of the ego, basically. Have you ever had a situation where you think about all the bad things that could happen? You're moving, and instead of focusing on, okay, well, I need to get the moving truck and I need to get my people here at a certain time, instead you are thinking about, oh my gosh, what if the TV breaks? Or, oh my gosh, what if nobody shows up? Or, oh my gosh, what if they don't have the right truck for me? And you're thinking about all the bad things. Well, you're going to manifest those bad things. If you want things to go smoothly, remember, you make your own reality. And if you can't think about any of the positive and good things and focus on everything going the right way, you're actually going to call in all of those terrible thoughts that you've had. Because that's what you're putting out to God and the universe. So if we want less fear and less anxiety, then we need to call in that everything is going to go perfectly. I am going to do amazing tonight. I am going to make this move and it's going to go smoothly and nothing's going to get broken. And keep that positive thought and not go, but or if, because that brings in the negative side of things, which plays on the anxiety and fear. So if we want to avoid that anxiety and fear, call in the positive, the high vibrating, and all those things that you really do want to manifest, and not the things you don't want to manifest. So that's controlling your thoughts. That's mindset, and it's really important. Live in the present moment. Focus on the present rather than constantly worrying about the future of the what ifs and the past of the wish I coulda, and it will help reduce anxiety. So, well, how do we stay in the present? Because that does help reduce anxiety. Anxiety is often rooted in the fear of future or regret about something in the past. Focusing on the present stops your mind from racing ahead or dwelling on what really happened, making changes feel more manageable. So staying right here. What happened, happened. There's no reason to play it over and over and over in your head. And oh my goodness, I used to do that so badly. I used to lay down in my bed at night and play the whole day over in my head. Oh, I should have done this, or I can't believe I said that, or whatever it was. And I was beating myself up, and that causes anxiety and fear right there. Oh, well, what if they don't like me? Maybe I said the wrong thing. And I was not being present. I wasn't being truly authentically me because I was reevaluating everything. And if we're reevaluating something, if it's maybe something that we're studying and it's something that we're learning, then think about it. But if you're playing the day over and over in your head because you had an interaction with this person or this person, the likelihood is you're going to be stuck in fear and anxiety over the day. Something that I do each night is I release the day. When I lay down, I release everything that I took on from others throughout the day, and I release everything that's not mine. And if I had an especially trying day, I release everything that is not or was not of love and light throughout that day. And I disconnect from the day so that I don't sit there and play it over and over and over in my head. It's not healthy and it's not good to do that. It brings us down. And then after I disconnect from the day and I release all of those things, I go straight into gratitude. Oh my goodness, what are all the things that I am grateful for? And sometimes that does bring me back to the day, but it helps elevate my thoughts and it helps keep me from replaying all the what ifs that aren't healthy. Matter of fact, anxiety can scatter our thoughts. Staying present helps you focus on one task at a time, which can improve productivity and reduce the feeling of being overwhelmed. Staying present allows you to observe your emotions without being controlled by them. You can notice when you're starting to feel anxiety and take a pause and choose to respond or release it. You can practice observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Are you judging yourself? Are you judging others? No, let that go. By reconnecting with the present, you can assess if the situation requires action. And if it does, you can take steps to reduce your anxiety by taking the action needed in that moment to help you find your inner calm. So, how do we practice staying present to help relieve all that anxiety? We can pay attention to what we see right then, what we hear, what we smell, taste, or even touch to bring us back into the moment. Oh, well, reaching down and noticing my mouse pad. It's beautiful in all the different colors. And thinking about that will help me come back to the present. Another thing I love to do that helps me and brings me back to the present and helps ground me is I have animals. And I will pet my dog or my cats and take a moment to connect with them. And it really does bring me back to the present. Another really amazing thing to do, and I highly suggest, is focusing on your breath. Stop and breathe deeply. Studies have shown that breathing techniques can reduce anxiety symptoms, including your heart rate, your blood pressure, and stress hormones. So breathe in through your nose and allowing your abdomen to expand. Hold your breath for at least a count of 4. And exhale slowly through the mouth. This breathing technique manages or helps manage anxiety, and will bring you back to the present because you're focusing on your breathing and your breathing is present. And when we're stuck in anxiety, our breath becomes very shallow and we don't even notice it. It's that fight or flight. So as you bring yourself back to the present and you focus on your breathing and we take those deep breaths, it helps slow that heart rate and it does help bring us out of that anxiety. Another thing you can do to help stay present is immerse yourself in an activity that you enjoy. Something like a hobby or exercise or something like that. These also can help bring you back into the present because you're focusing your attention to the right now. Something else that we should avoid doing is switching between tasks frequently. Do one thing at a time. Focus on one activity at a time to stay present. I know so many people that go and clean their house and they start on the kitchen and they're like, oh, I need to switch the laundry. And they're halfway done switching the laundry and they're like, oh, I need to go over here and dust this or water my plants, and nothing gets done. They didn't finish the dishes. They didn't finish changing the laundry. They started dusting the plant. Then they had to water the plant, but did they get that done? They're switching from one thing to another without completing. There is going to be so much anxiety with that. As you complete one task and you mark it off your list, there becomes a peace that comes over you. You get that kitchen done first, then you change the laundry, then you go to the next thing, and then you don't have to think about the kitchen anymore. And you don't have to think about that laundry until the buzzer goes off again. As you complete each task, it will help you feel not just accomplished, but so much less stressed. Another good thing you can do to stay in the present is meditation. Bringing your awareness back to your body and meditate. All of these things take practice and time. Start small and be kind to yourself. And remember that God is always there for you. Whatever struggles you have, He knows. Go to Him in prayer. Lay your burdens on God and let Him release you from them. Go with a complete willingness to let go of the control that you feel when you are holding on to something so tight, but you want to let it go, and you're like, oh, I kind of want to let it go, and then you're like, no, I have to hold on to that. No, truly let it go and give it to God completely from all parts of you, and you will feel and find the relief that you are looking for. I offer spiritual healing sessions and can provide you with guidance and insight on things that you can do in your life to be more connected to God and Spirit. I can give you insight and guidance from Spirit to guide you through whatever you're going through. You can go to bridgingduality.org to book your session. Thank you for being here. You are loved. Sending you love and light so that you can build your bridge.